Anchor Church, hope you are well. Welcome to this week's edition of Going Deeper, where we take just 5 minutes to recap Sunday's content and then give you some questions to chew on. The goal would be, first and foremost, that you would consider these questions, apply Sunday's content to your life. But our ultimate desire is that you would discuss this with somebody else. As simple as someone that you live with, a friend. You could even be your own host for a group where you can walk through this video, push pause, answer a question, go to the next question. But our goal would be that we process this content together. One of our core values is community. We grow best when we grow together. Doesn't mean you can't grow in isolation, but we grow our best together. We just finished up here at the City Life Community Center a message on generosity. And if you haven't had the chance to listen to it yet, go find that on our YouTube, listen to generosity. And generosity is another one of our core values. We say it this way: loving always leads to giving. That our goal is not just, hey, let's have a church that just gives. Our goal is to be a church that loves, that has embraced God's love, has been impacted by God's love, and is living out God's love. And living it out always leads to generosity, not just financially, but living a generous life. We want to be a church that is generous, that loving always leads to giving. Here's one verse we read. I want to read it to you right now. It's in Isaiah 32, and it's verse 8. It says, "Generous people plan to do what is generous, and they stand firm in their generosity." Generous people, they don't just hope that they will, but they plan on being generous. They make a plan, they budget, they daydream, they consider, they prepare for generosity, and then when the opportunity for generosity comes, they stand firm in it, they follow through. We want to be a people that don't just get put on the spot. I feel like I'm being asked to be generous, but we're generous people because we've planned for it. So here's a couple questions for you. Do you plan generosity? Is it in your budget? Are you prepared for it? Maybe a follow-up question should be, how can I plan better for generosity? Maybe you need to look at your budget. Maybe you need to, what does it look like to take an extra shift or to be more generous with my time in serving? What does it mean to be more generous with the resources, the possessions that I do have? Can I be generous? Do I plan for it? Or how can I start planning on generosity? How do you budget for this? How do you prepare for this? I would also ask you, God, how are you asking me to engage in generosity? How is he asking you to engage? Maybe consider what's going on in your life, in your workplace, in your family. What does it look like that God would have you engage in generosity? And then the last question that we've considered, and listening to the whole message will give you much greater context, but we are asking you to consider, is being generous, does it include partnering with Anchor Church? We've got a project going on right now that we're asking, is God calling you to be generous to that? And if the answer is no, no big deal. Our supply is Him, that He is building His church. He has sustained us this far, and He's going to continue going. But how are we to engage in what God is doing, what He cares about, what He's building? Loving always leads to giving. If you want a bonus, just fun question, maybe just talk about how falling in love has led to giving in your life, whether that's with a person, an event, a place, an experience, a vehicle. Maybe just talk about loving leading to giving, and then we just want to apply that spiritually. How does receiving the love of God, living out the love of God, how does that lead me to a generous lifestyle? Anchor, you have been so generous. We intend to be a generous church for generations. That we've always got room for one more mooch because we are generous. We love you. Have an amazing week. Labor Day, we are online only. There will still be a Going Deeper to follow up with that, but we'll be back at City Life going through Church Planting 101 the week after Labor Day. Love you guys. Have a great day.